One of the best-known spy gadgets used in films and television shows was the Bell Textron rocket belt. The belt and later versions of the flying machine are thrust-driven devices that can literally make a person fly.
I think if I had to pick a favorite thing that is believable, that I would love to have, I think it's the rocket pack on the back. I think that was a wonderful, wonderful gadget because it was real, it was futuristic and unbelievable. You look at it and you think, wow, is that on wires? And you actually realize it's for real. I think that was very innovative in its day. I think it was fantastic.
Wendell Moore, a Bell Aerospace engineer in Buffalo, New York, created the belt in the late 1950s and early 1960s. Moore got the idea while working with liquid hydrogen peroxide used in the rocket boosters of high-flying research aircraft to keep them stable at stratospheric altitudes. The first tests of the belt were done with pilots tethered to lines inside an airplane hangar. By converting the liquid to a gas, a tremendous amount of thrust was created. Enough thrust, Moore realized, to launch a man into the air. By 1962, Moore perfected the belt. He made tanks that could hold up to 50 pounds of fuel. He created easy-to-use pitch and yaw controls on the handles of the belt. He installed a warning system inside the helmet to let a pilot know his fuel was running low. Moore's belt allowed a man to fly for up to 20 seconds at 60 miles per hour and land safely. Hugh Neeson worked with Moore on the project.
Turns out it was all a very natural sequence. If you turn this left hand, you rotate it. If you turn this hand, you went up higher. If you push both back, you went forward. If you lift it up, you slow down. So it turned out to be elegantly simple. In fact, I think the early criteria was have people who weren't pilots fly it. The original thought was to supply this to the Army, to ordinary troops, far-out vision, if you will. And they did not want to constrain by saying it was so complex that you had to have a pilot.
In 1963, Bill Suter was a 19-year-old neighbor of William Moore's who was looking for a summer job. What he got was work as one of the first pilots to strap on the rocket belt.
The second day that I showed up, I was given a low-pressure tryout on the tether. And when they keep the fuel pressure low, there's not enough power to get you off the ground, but it will shove you around so you get a feel for what you're doing. And the first couple of attempts in the hangar are with low pressure, so you can feel the reaction and what you have to do to overcome it. But then when you get full pressure and your feet leave the ground, everything you thought about previously is gone. It's as soon as your feet are off the ground and you're riding on that thing, it's entirely different from anything you ever experienced.
Suter went on to become an expert belt pilot. He flew at demonstrations all over the world and was even hired to fly in the James Bond film, Thunderball.
I'm one lucky son of a gun. I was lucky that Wendell hired me, and I was lucky I made it to all those 40-some foreign countries and all over the world, met some incredible people. It was an experience of a lifetime, I guess, you know, that went on for 30-some years.
At a private airfield outside of Dallas, Texas, today's version of James Bond's rocket belt takes to the skies. A company called Powerhouse Productions owns the belt, the only one in existence that still flies. Powerhouse owner Kenny Gibson has flown the belt hundreds of times in exhibitions all over the world, from television shows to the Super Bowl.
I flew several years ago at the Super Bowl, and when I landed, you would have thought I just made the winning touchdown at the Super Bowl. I mean, the people came out of their seat, they threw their arms up, and it was just this big roar. When you get face to face with them to talk about it, they're just amazed that a man can fly this way. Even though that this has been around for 35 years, they're still amazed that this thing flies in the capacity that it flies in.
In all his flights, which can reach up to 200 feet off the ground, Gibson said one question is asked more than all the others combined. What does it feel like to fly?
The best thing I can come up with is it's like you would imagine flying on a magic carpet. You're just cruising around really smooth and just making turns very graceful and very easy.
After 2 decades of flying the Belt throughout the world at venues big and small, Kinney has retired. But at the Powerhouse Field today, pilot Eric Scott will demonstrate how the Belt works. In the business of stunt flying, Scott is known as the Rocket Man. The ground team makes some final adjustments to the Belt. Then it's time for the Rocket Man to take a test flight. Scott slowly lifts off the ground and hovers for 10 seconds. Everything with the Belt appears to be working fine. After refueling, Scott is ready to take to the skies. Scott flies above a nearby tree line. He makes a circle in the sky. And lands at the same spot from where he took off.
I was just having a little fun up there. I didn't see it. Oh, that's kind of fun.
Yeah, it was smooth. It was nice. Good job.
What's the time on
Thanks, everybody.
Hey, good job.
I love you guys.
28 seconds. Beautiful.
28.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
Even though they've seen it hundreds of times, every flight for the Powerhouse crew is still special.
You can't explain the feeling. It's like a dream that's reality. It's just one of those wonderful, hard to explain feelings that everybody probably wishes they could have the opportunity to do.